Hello. We'll just take a few moments as people arrive.
I am resilient. I trust the movement. I negate the chaos. Uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
As you're arriving, say hello.
Whoa, 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 whoa. These times are poignant, the winds have shifted. It's all we can do to stay uplifted. Pipelines through backyards, wolves howling out front. Yeah, I've got my crew, but truth is what I want. Realigning on points, power to the peaceful, girls to the waters, women at the center, all vessels open.
Goosebumps.
Give and receive. Let's see the system right down to its knees. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm going to stand up.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hello, hello. There's Julie. There's Annette. Who else is here, beloveds?
I'm made of thunder. I'm made of lightning.
I'm made of dirt.
I'm made of dirt, yeah. Made of the fine things. My father taught me that I'm a speck of dust, and this world is made for me. So
Let's go and try our luck, see.
I've got my roots down, 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 deep.
I got my roots down, 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 deep. I got my roots down, down,
down deep. I've got my roots down, down, down deep. So what are we doing here? What has been done? What are you gonna do about it when the world comes undone? My voice was tiny, and I'm sure so does yours. Put us all together, make a mighty roar.
I want you here. Hearts.
I am resilient. I trust the movement. I negate the chaos. Uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to move you closer again. There's an airplane out there. It's cloudy here. I'm just getting this. I'm standing up at my workstation today because my body is just asking for that. So perhaps you came earlier this morning. It's raining again. It's raining again. I hope you were able to watch yesterday's day one. I hope you were able to watch and or be here this morning bright and early for the little surprise party as I came and shared essentially perspective on how it is that we share about self-care so that we're holding ourselves and one another to a standard of compassion, so that we're recognizing and remembering that competition destroys cellular intelligence, and that we're just here together on this 5-day challenge, to support one another, to be here with one another, to love one another. So I'm just going to keep dropping pieces of music that inspire me. You don't see this so much, those of you who journey with me in Pilgrim, because I stay really true to those yogic teachings, which are a huge part of my world and a part of my life. And I also go down this little spiral of crazy music, from Michael Franti to Rising Appalachia, which is what you just heard. You heard a song called Resilient by Rising Appalachia. It's two sisters that have a wonderful group, and just the two of them, just that little duo, and the song is called Resilient, and very, very apropos for these times. So here we are today. We are in day number 2, on day number 2 of our 5-day challenge. So I'm just gonna jump right in here and see who's here. Oh my gosh, Jessica just said, I can just imagine you dancing with Britt, Annette, because Annette has this way, for those of you who have not done Pilgrim, she comes out and just dances like a proper Jamaican with full wide open heart, full of love. She dances and does little videos to remind us how brilliant we all are. We love her for that. So there's Des again, and Dez's daughter Willow is maybe not here with us in this moment, but she's here with us on the journey. And there's Cindy Swainton, and she's here saying good afternoon from the East Coast. And Laura O'Brien Gould, good morning. I want to be in that dance. You are in that dance. You come. Moving our bodies. When you listen to this song, when you hear Rising Appalachia, Resilient, and you keep turning your attention to the light, and you keep turning your attention to moving. Remember, one of our key points yesterday was to move that energy, moving that energy through your physical body. It's part and parcel of the whole. So here we are. Hey, Michelle. Yep, you know how to dance too. I know you know how to dance. I've seen you dance, Michelle. And there's Heather and Margot. Good morning. Yes, mighty roar. My voice feels tiny, and I imagine sometimes so does yours. Let's put them all together and make a mighty roar. Gives me goosebumps, makes me want to cry. I love you. Facebook user, hello, precious women. Hello to you too. I think there's a couple guys in this particular circle, so we're just going to hold them. We're going to love them like mamas hold sons and brothers and daddies, and we're just going to hold them in that great way. And there's Carolyn, good morning. Beautiful day, everyone. Sweet music. Yes, Stephanie, it's a yummy one. So here we are. Julie Prohaska here for 2nd day of self-care. Grateful for this program. Thank you, Britt. You're so welcome. So remember, you can continue to share this. You can keep on sharing this. Keep on sharing. It doesn't matter when people show up. You can start it again next week with some soul sisters of your own, however it is that you so see fit. So we're going to jump right in. So just a reminder that day 0, our introduction, I like to do this, just do a little recap. That's where we look at stress response and relaxation response. Both have high value. We want to have a stress response when we're in true and real danger, and when there's something we can do about it. When there's not something we can do about it, what we want to do is we want to be living in that relaxation response, because the relaxation response is where our immune system stays strong, our digestion remains strong and functions well. We're able to not only digest the food that we eat, but we're also we're able to digest life's experiences. And then when we're in that relaxation response, I promise you, your body's going to be well positioned that if you need to slip into stress response, you're going to be able to go there quickly. That doesn't go away. That's why you're here on the planet, because you have that stress response and it kicks in, right? That's how you've survived all of these gazillions of years of your ancestors. So we want to keep that alive, but that's not our job. Nature will take care of that. Our job, given the imbalance on the planet at this time, is to keep shifting ourselves into that relaxation response. Because when we live from that stress response, we become exhausted, we become short-sighted, we become single-focused, we become anxious, we lack resilience, we lose our foundation, we become rigid, we're unable to see that this world is full of possibility and potential and deep connection. So that's what we're returning to again and again. So that was day 0, and then day 1, we looked at how we bookend our day with light. So that was all about how do we integrate this greatness of the cycles of light with the cycles of our own life, so that we are riding with the rhythms of nature, Now we're going to take that to the next level, which is really looking at the 5 elements. So in this 5-day self-care challenge, where we went from bookending our day with light on day 1, we're now moving into the power and the greatness of nature. Today we tap into that deep wisdom that nature is the greatest teacher and the most profound and miraculous healer that there is. How do we tap into nature? We recognize the essential 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And we find ways in which to touch into and tap into all 5 of those elements. Because you are made of stardust. You are made of the same essential energy that the cosmos are made of. And so we want to tap into that so that we can ride the rhythms of nature, and we can use what is working well without judgment, without imbalance, with natural organic presence and potency in our own lives. That's what we're going for. I'm going to take a little bit of water. We'll talk about this. So my little cup of water actually has a capsule in it of lavender oil. So I have a pure essential food grade caplet. Would it be capsule? It's in a glycerin, just a glycerin coating, and it's filled with lavender oil. And I drop one of those in my hot water, and it helps me keep my nervous system relaxed. So this was actually a medicine that was given to me by my naturopath many moons ago when I was Googling at the ripe old age of 46 or 47, am I having a heart attack? Because I was having major anxiety as my life was making major shifts, and I was paying close attention to that. And she gave me lavender oil. And I took those lavender oils in just the little caplets, and then I gradually began to put them in my water. And so now I buy them. And when my dear friends and guests and people come this way, I say, hey, can I ship something to you? And I send them my lavender oil, and I bring it, and I drink this during the day if I'm not drinking water with lime. So I'm running a lot of energy when I'm teaching, as you can feel and see. And so I want to keep myself fluid and keep that energy moving. And I'm rooted, standing here at my workstation so that I can be connected to you, connected to the earth, and spine open. So today we're going to be looking at the power and the greatness of nature. What we are aspiring to do in these self-care practices today, and you can choose one of them, right? This is overachievers, high achievers, go-getters. Come back to me. Stop with your multitasking just for a moment and come right on back to me as I share these next few words. And that is, you don't have to do it all. You can just choose one of them and watch the impact, the potency and the impact of that one single choice. If you've got the time and the energy and you're a little bit bored in your life, I say add a little bit more. But we don't want any of these self-care practices to stress you out. We want them all to help release you into that relaxation response, not keep you stuck or keep you whirling in the stress response. So what happens when we connect to the 5 elements and we do so in a conscious way is we feel more grounded, more fluid, more nourished, more inspired, and ultimately more free. And those are respectfully earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So with that, I'm going to move right on in. I want to make sure I stay true to my little workbook. If you haven't downloaded your workbook yet, you can do that. The link is in the description. That'll get you here. Now it's automated. If you registered before and you didn't get your workbook and you can't seem to find your workbook, you can just hop right on to my website and go to the self-care, 5-day self-care challenge. You can go right on in there. When you register, the workbook will automatically be sent to you again, and you won't be double entered unless you put in a different email. So just so you know. Okay, so today is the power and greatness of nature, day 2. Day 2. All right. So again, why do this? We want to be connected to earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Earth, when we are connected to and in balance with it in our own lives and in our own bodies. And when we connect to that wise mama, that mama energy, and that deep and pure and rich and potent medicine, right? When we do that, we find that we feel our feet beneath us and we feel grounded and steady and stable. When we feel grounded and steady and stable, we sleep better. We more easily hang out in the relaxation response. We are more able to be steadfast, rooted, and also we have a foundation that allows for us to be flexible when the winds blow. So that's earth. So what would be an earth practice? My absolute favorite earth practice, and this is in your workbook, is to oil your feet. Well, how do I do that? It doesn't matter. You just oil your feet. What would I do with it? What would I do with it right today? Today, I would use this. I took this off my kitchen shelf. This is extra virgin first cold pressed olive oil. That's what I use. Why? Because it's what I have. If I have a sesame oil, I could use a sesame oil, a first grade, first cold pressed, organic if you can, but if not, don't worry about it, sesame oil, or a coconut oil, or an almond oil, or a grapeseed oil, or a walnut oil, right? Any of those that are in their natural state, I wouldn't overthink it. I wouldn't go too big on it. I would just have your oil. And this would be a practice to do primarily at night, particularly if you don't sleep super deeply and don't feel very rested when you rise in the morning. There's this, did you hear that whistle? It's like someone selling something on the street. One of these days I'll figure out what all the things. Sometimes they sell mattresses, sometimes they sell bread, sometimes they sell cookies, sometimes they sell ice cream, sometimes they sell gas, big tanks of gas. And each of the sounds, sometimes they sell hot cooked, hot baked sweet potatoes. So you just never know what you're going to get. Oil. They don't sell oil on the streets in Mexico, last I checked. So what do? I have an old funky pair of socks, and I do this before I go to bed. I take my shower, which I'll talk about a little bit later. I put oil on my feet. I get it in my feet. I move it up my ankles, and then I put my old funky socks on. And then I go about moving about my day, my evening, however I'm going to have my evening ritual, etc. And then when it's time for me to go to bed, when I crawl in bed, I just peel my socks off. And my feet, the funky oil, any funk that's left over doesn't get on my sheets, goes into those funky socks. They stay there. I crawl into my nice bed. My feet have been oiled and my energy is grounded. So if you can imagine this, take a balloon in your brain, just in your imagination, and rub it on your hair. And what happens to your hair? Right? That happens, right? Is it right? It does this. So that's what happens. Now take your balloon or your hair, just put a few drops of oil on your hand, rub that on the balloon or in your hair, and now take your balloon and rub it on your head. Now what happens? This doesn't happen. That's what I'll tell you. Oil is grounding. It diminishes, it locks up the electricity. So when we oil our feet, which is the base of our body, we bring the energy from overactive thinking, which will happen if you're on your phone or you're on technology and all that energy is moving in and through you. And believe me, it's real, right? It's real. It's fascinating, isn't it? That I can pick up my phone and I can Google something and the whole universe of wisdom just goes, and it's at my fingertips. And now if I take that laptop and I set it literally on my lap, on my legs where I have a connection, which I discourage, by the way, to have your computer sitting on you, buy yourself a stand, something like this. if you can, and get these on Amazon. I'm pulling it out from underneath my computer just for right now. A stand, something like this, that you can regulate the height. Again, self-care, ergonomic. This whole desk is about self-care, right? How do I have something like this so that I can set it down in front of me or on a stool or on the arm of the couch if I'm going to be on the couch for a little while watching something, and that laptop, those electromagnetic frequencies and just the electricity isn't running direct into my legs, because that will zing you up. That will wake you up and get you moving, and we don't want that, right? Margot said, was in the process of oiling my feet when you mentioned this. That's perfect. Yay. Oh, Heather, how sweet. You printed Julie's workbook. Thank you for doing that. Yes, lavender oil is Lavela by Integ. You know what? I think that's exactly what I have, is the Lavela by Integrative. So exactly that, those little lavender oils. I'll see if I can find, I don't have a box. I just have the little silver packet, and you pop them out like you would a prescription drug, but this is my prescription, lavender oil. Okay, so the first one was oil your feet. That's connecting you to the earth element, to grounding. The second one, all-time favorite of mine again, is to wash off the world. So what does that mean? That can take a number of meanings. We know that we wash off the world. That was just seconds before when we use the bathroom, when we use the toilet, we wash our hands. Why do we do that? Because we don't want the energy, which happens to come in the form of bacteria, or as my mother would say, as poop particles. We don't want that then to go back out into our world, right? I'm just telling it like it is. So what I'm saying is we wash our hands after we go to the bathroom. We often wash our hands. Now we're washing our hands a lot. I always have gotten into a deep practice of washing my hands and my feet both right after I teach a yoga class, because I'm in touch with so many bodies. Not so much during COVID, but I'm in touch with so many bodies. My hands are physically in contact with those bodies. Physically in contact with those bodies. So as my hands are in touch with those bodies, as my feet are in touch with those bodies, and my feet are touching the earth bare and open, I come out of that practice of teaching. Some of you may do that as therapists as well as any sort of therapist, right? Even if you're not touching physically, you're touching energetically. Going on out, washing hands and feet. That's a ritual for me. That's a way in which that I wash off the world. Also, every night before I go to bed. So for example, last night I did my evening ritual. I was in my pajamas. I was in my pajamas by probably 5:30, which is my druthers, by the way, early, before the sun goes down. I like to be in my jammies. Then I realized, I don't have any grapefruit. And I really love my grapefruit ritual at night. So I left and took off my pajamas and threw on some clothes, and I went to the market, and I came back, and what did I do? I showered again. Now, I don't soap up and lather up, and I actually don't soap up and lather up much anyway. I just wash off the world. I wash my hands and my feet and my face. It's not every single aspect of my whole body, but I wash off the world because I want, when I'm in my home at night, and particularly when I climb into those sheets, I want it to be just me. I don't want to sleep with the world. I don't want to sleep with whomever or the energy of whomever I came across in the market. I don't want that. That's just me. I don't want that, right? I want to be in my bed with the energy that I choose to have in that bed, pure and pristine, nothing more, nothing less. Wash off the world. That's a water practice, Earth, earthen bodies, physical bodies, deep connection. Water, fluid, flow of electricity, right? When we're fluid, we're able to move. When water is in balance, we are able to shapeshift. When something big happens, we're able to go with the flow and do that. When something slows down, we're able to be steady and move more slowly. We don't have only one rhythm, only one speed at which we can move, which is either fast or stop or our rhythm. We actually can go with what life's asking us. So we have less suffering. There's less struggle in that process. So that's number 2. So earth, oil your feet, water, wash off the world. The third, smoke to fire. Here's my example. My little candle, you can't see that it's lit, but it's actually lit in there. It's lit in there. There's a flame somewhere in there. Can you see it? Can't see it very well with this lighting. I have a candle. Incense, sage, these are active parts of my practice. I have a candle that burns on my altar 24/7. As soon as it goes out, I light it again. It's where I sit in the morning. It's where I sit at night for a few moments. It's where I pray. It's where I offer my gratitudes. It's where I meditate. It's where I think of my mama. It's all of those things for me. It's a deep and rich connection for me from smoke to fire. So in other words, what's happening in the ethers, the etheric realm, the divine realm, the mystery, the potential, I want to bring that into my own being, mix it, alchemize with me in my life, and let that create transformation in my life and the life of others and the world at large. That's my intention. That's what I do. Okay? That's how I go there. That's important to me. That's why it's smoke to fire, because I'm pulling it in from the ethers, I'm mixing it up, alchemizing it with my Brittness, and I'm sending it back out into the world so that there's transformation. Because fire, when it is in balance, is pure and clear and warm and attractive and upward rising. I want to be all those things. So, smoke to fire, that's the next practice. I have a candle on my desk. I have fresh flowers on my desk. I currently have oil on my desk. I have water with lavender. I also have, as we move into the next one, kiss the wind. We'll do this one so that I'm skipping ahead of myself. Kiss the wind. Kiss the wind. This is huge for me. I love this one too. These are just some of the basics that I do all the time. I am super conscious when I am out in the world. I am super conscious when I'm out in the world. And when I say out in the world, I'm not necessarily talking about being at a market or being with someone in the world or being in a movie theater, any of those things. I walk a lot because it's the nature of living in Mexico and living in this part of Merida in town. But what I'm offering is that I'm in the world, so I'm walking a whole bunch. When I'm out there, anytime I feel the slightest of the breeze. Okay, here's where it gets exciting for me. So I don't expect anyone to abide by or to perceive life in the same way that I do. I believe and I move through life as if this universe is constantly conspiring on my behalf and on yours and in the world at large to give us exactly what we need to help us rise into the next best and highest evolution of ourselves. If we hear the call and if we heed the call, we will rise. If we don't, we might fall. If we don't rise, we're subject to falling. That's just the nature of it. So that's where I come from. In that way, I am deeply connected to my experience of divinity, right? I, again, have no agenda for how you see divinity. If you see divinity, if you're connected to something that you call God, that's up to you, right? That's totally up to you. Do you have a place or a way in which that you worship? Your perch, when you go to your perch and you say thank you, to what are you saying thank you? I, in part, say thank you to the wind, right? Why to the wind? So I let the wind kiss me because I feel as though whomever is moving the wind can move me. Whoever is moving the wind, whatever force is moving the wind, can also move me. And in that way, when someone dies, when someone leaves their body, or when someone leaves our life in the way that they were in the past, when we feel, puppy, Maya, ay, perra. You say that. That's what my partner always says. And then she stops. Perra. Means, oh, dog. Good girls. So when I feel the wind, when I feel that air on me, I know that I am feeling the essential life force of anyone and everyone whom I love that I am not able to be physically with. I have never felt lonely during this COVID. I live, like when Jyoti was here the end of December, student, dear friend, soul sister, when she was here, she's the first person outside of my partner that is part of my close-in circle that I have been with physically for 16 months, like even for a moment. And when she was here, I had a deep recognition how grateful I am to the perspective and the practice of kissing the wind. What does that mean? I allow life to come in. That life force, that vitality of those that I love, that I'm not with, that are not here with me now, they're still moving in and through their lives. That to me, that life force is touching me. And I feel that. So this in and of itself is also self-care, because I'm recognizing that I'm held and I'm holding, and that I'm whole and I am holy, and I can relax here. And that is huge. Yes, we need connection with others, and there is deep and rich connection in and through others that we are able to feel through the 5 elements. There were many people who were very alone in our ancestry some 100, 200 years ago. They were not able to hang out in community and have big family gatherings. It might have been a woman and her husband, homesteaders. It might have been a single homesteader, one man going off by himself in search of an elk and gone for weeks at a time, right? Yes, women are more communal, it is true. And we can feel the deep and rich connection to our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, our children, our brothers and sisters on this planet when we tap into and touch into the elements. They are not surrogate. Nature is not a surrogate for community. Community is part and parcel of nature. And so when we turn to nature, we turn to the holder, to the one that contains all of us as humanity. Very good. And then the last one for our practice, and then I'll open it up to questions and I'll come back and read, is to anoint your life with oil. This is lavender oil, just happens to be lavender oil. I'm on a relaxation response kick. This is a lavender oil, my favorite brand. I have 2 favorite brands, and I'm pretty particular. My absolute favorite brand is Floricopia. It is the best I have found. Now I'm going to offer this. I was thinking about this earlier today. It is so interesting to me that we disconnect from nature by choosing to buy, and we spend a lot of money on a perfume that is made in a laboratory that is designed to smell like something real. There are very few perfumes that are made of pure essential oils, and they often have a stabilizer. I say go right to the source. Cindy Swighton, I don't know if you're here right now, but you can speak to this, I'm just sure, with Night Blooming Jasmine, right? Which is the best. This is an incredible lavender oil. All I do is I take a single drop in my hand. It's coming out, slow and steady. Why is it not coming? It's there, I see it. There we go, single drop, must be gummed up. Hands. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then I let it take my hair, my skin. To be careful with some of these, that was just a single drop and it's lavender, and I know it won't burn me, but if it was eucalyptus or if it was mint, I would not touch it to my skin. I would be all right with my hair or my clothes at that point, but I wouldn't touch it anywhere near or close to my eyes. So just another way in which of being. So this is it. These are 5 ways. You can choose any one of them. You can play with them. You can look at where you want to be connected to Earth. Again, here's another way that I stay connected to Earth. These are my flowers that are on my desk. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Okay, Cindy Swighton, I love you so much. She said, Love my jasmine. Makes me sexy. Oh, wait, I am sexy. Yes, you are. I love you guys so much. You're the best. Mary, yeah, Lang Lang oil is what I would use if I wanted perfume for a date night. Okay, that's so perfect. So Mary Dempsey says Lang Lang oil. So, and it's, I believe it's Y. So if you're looking for it, I believe it's YLANG. YLANG. Two of them. Lang Lang. It's Yalang Yalang oil. My favorite, and Mary, you might find this interesting. My absolute favorite combination is actually Lang Lang and peppermint together. Try that. That's super good for your constitution, especially when you're feeling all fired up. And I know how fire attracts fire because I'm fiery. So that might speak to you too. Thank you for that. So there's Mary, there's Cynthia, Margot. I could not fall asleep last night and remembered you once saying to try getting up and oiling your feet to ground and fall back asleep. It worked. It does work. It totally works. It totally works. And if it doesn't, there's always nutmeg, fresh ground nutmeg in milk, either real milk or a nut milk or seed milk. You don't need very much, third of a cup, half of a cup of the milk. And then you heat it with the nutmeg, fresh ground, not out of a sprinkler, fresh ground. If you have it in a sprinkler, somehow put it in a pestle and mortar, do something to awaken those herbs. Facebook user, loving this. Very good. There you go. Loving that. Yeah, you have your baby steps have been key in building good self-care habits for me. Totally. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I give you stuff, just choose one. You got your whole life to do this. If you turn your attention just a little bit toward the light, guess what? You're turning your attention to the light. It's enough. How did you know that I was making my 10 a.m. smoothie while listening? Yeah, exactly. That's me too. Please share resource to buy. Yes. So for the lavender, right? Let me know if you're thinking of something else. If you're speaking about the resource of the lavender, just let me know that. Dancing with you. Very good. I'm so glad. There you go. See you sharing sweet niece. Susie. Yay. Hi, Susie. You're Julie's niece. Nice to meet you. There's that. Michelle, Annette Richards Finn, my dance partner, and Laura, my other dance partner. There you go. All right. Loving them. Good. No. So any other questions? Any other questions? I'm seeing you all. Beautiful. There it is. I'm going to scooch back to the new comments. Let's see what we got down here. My phone's turning. Please share lavender in the water. Yep. Okay. That's it. All right. So no other questions. This is day 2. You got your workbook. If you don't have your workbook, download it. It's easy to get. You can continue to share this with your friends. Please do. We can double, triple, quadruple, sextuple, whatever the size of this group by Friday. No problem. And you can keep on adding people. It's going to be up and alive for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after we finish up here on Friday. So big love to you. Sweet day to you. And I am just right here. If you have any questions, tag me. Keep introducing yourselves. Keep speaking about what brings you into alignment, what awakens you, brings you into alignment, and brings you closer to love, what gives you goosebumps, what makes you go, what excites you, what gives you butterflies in your belly, what makes you go, what makes your eyes light up, all of that. Keep bringing it on. All right. I love you. I love. Sweet day to you. And self-care onward, dear ones. Ciao.